The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with nervous energy as delegates from across the known systems gathered to witness what many believed would be the final humiliation of the newest species, to petition for membership. The humans, those peculiar, bipedal creatures from the third planet of a yellow star, had somehow managed to impress the preliminary committees with their technological achievements and diplomatic rhetoric. But now came the true test, the trial of ultimate endurance. Ambassador Zixa Thera of the crystalline hegemony clicked her mandibles in satisfaction as she observed the human representative through the reinforced viewing portal. The creature, Marcus, Chen, according to the files, stood barely 2 meters tall, covered in the flimsy organic material humans called skin. No natural armor, no protective exoskeleton, no energy shields, just pink flesh and determination. Preposterous, rumbled Lord Vorthak, his massive bulk shifting in his specially reinforced chair. The Vorthaki were known throughout the galaxy for their incredible resilience, having evolved on a world where atmospheric pressure could crush most beings. My own warriors trained for decades before attempting even a portion of what lies ahead. This human will be liquefied within the first chamber. The trial consisted of 7 progressively more challenging environments, each designed to test the absolute limits of biological endurance. The first chamber simulated the crushing depths of a neutron star's atmosphere, pressure that could compress diamond into powder. The second replicated the searing radiation storms of a binary pulsar system. The third froze participants to temperatures approaching absolute zero. The subsequent chambers contained environments so hostile that only 12 beings in recorded galactic history had survived all 7. None had emerged unchanged. Dr. Thysa, the Ethereal Science Council representative, phased slightly out of the visible spectrum as she consulted her data tablet. The human's vital signs are curious. Most species show elevated stress indicators before the trial begins. Chen's biorhythms suggest he is calm. Perhaps the translation matrix is malfunctioning. Below in the preparation chamber, Marcus stretched methodically, working through what appeared to be some sort of primitive physical conditioning routine. The other delegates watched in bewildered silence as he performed movements that seemed to serve no purpose, lifting his own body weight repeatedly, manipulating his limbs in impossible configurations, and controlling his breathing in patterns that defied logical explanation. "Attention participants," the AI overseer announced. "Trial commencement in 60 seconds. Final opportunity to withdraw without penalty." Marcus looked up at the observation deck and did something that caused a collective gasp from the assembled delegates. He smiled. The first chamber nearly ended everything before it began. The pressure differential would have instantly killed most organic beings. Yet somehow the human adapted. His breathing shifted to rapid, shallow gasps. His blood pressure spiked to levels that should have burst his circulatory system, and his bones compressed visibly under the strain, but he remained conscious. More than that, he remained mobile. "Impossible," whispered Captain Janara of the Deep Void Fleet. "The atmospheric pressure in there exceeds our ship's emergency compression limits. How is he still standing?" The radiation chamber proved equally confounding. Most species required extensive genetic modification or technological enhancement to survive such exposure. The human simply endured. His flesh reddened and began to show cellular damage, but his system seemed to implement some sort of rapid repair protocol. His instruments detected massive endocrine system activation, stress hormones flooding his bloodstream in concentrations that should have been immediately fatal. "He's poisoning himself," she murmured. "His own body is producing toxin levels that would kill a Vorthaki warrior, yet somehow metabolizing them faster than they can cause permanent damage." By the third chamber, the temperature dropping to near absolute zero, something unprecedented occurred. The human began to generate heat. Not through any technological assistance or genetic modification, but through the sheer mechanical action of rapid muscle contractions. He was literally vibrating himself warm, his entire body becoming a biological heat engine. Lord Vorthak's confidence began to waver. What manner of evolution produces such Adaptability. The fourth chamber tested cognitive function under extreme neural interference, psychic storms that could shatter minds and leave even the most disciplined consciousness in permanent disarray. Marcus closed his eyes and began to vocalize in low, rhythmic tones. The sound seemed to create some sort of protective resonance, his brainwaves stabilizing into patterns the monitoring equipment couldn't even categorize. "He's singing, Ambassador," Zixathara said in disbelief. "Under psychic assault that would break a trained ethereal, and he's singing." The fifth chamber subjected him to gravitational forces that fluctuated wildly. One moment near weightlessness, the next crushing, acceleration that should have liquefied his organs. Yet Marcus moved with fluid grace, somehow anticipating the changes and adjusting his position to minimize damage. His inner ear systems, supposedly primitive compared to most spacefaring species, proved remarkably sophisticated in maintaining equilibrium under impossible conditions. Chamber 6 brought toxic atmospheric conditions, a cocktail of corrosive gases and biochemical agents designed to break down cellular structures from the inside out. The human held his breath for 17 minutes. When forced to breathe, his body seemed to filter the toxins through his liver and kidneys at superhuman efficiency, processing poisons that should have killed him instantly. And then came the seventh chamber. The final test combined elements from all previous trials while adding one more component: temporal distortion. Time moved differently within the chamber, sometimes accelerating, sometimes nearly stopping. The disorientation alone had driven previous survivors to madness. Marcus entered the chamber and immediately sat down in what appeared to be a meditation posture. As reality warped around him, as pressure and radiation and cold and poison and gravity and psychic energy assaulted him simultaneously, he remained perfectly still. His vital signs didn't just stabilize, they improved. His heart rate slowed to barely detectable levels. His brain activity shifted to patterns associated with deep, restorative sleep. He was resting. In the middle of the most hostile environment the galaxy could devise, the human was taking a nap. 3 hours later, or was it 3 minutes? The temporal distortion made accurate measurement impossible. The chamber door opened. Marcus Chen walked out, not crawled, not stumbled, not carried by medical teams. He walked out, stretched his arms above his head with a satisfied yawn, and looked up at the stunned observation deck. Then he smiled again. "So?" he said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's communication system. "When do we talk? Membership benefits?" In the shocked silence that followed, Dr. Thysa managed to whisper the question that would reshape galactic understanding of biological potential. What kind of planet produces creatures that consider the impossible merely inconvenient? The answer they would soon learn was Earth. And humanity was just getting started.